Welcome back to the Malaysia Money Matters show. It's the 4th of July, 2025. Today, we're diving into the latest financial headlines, key updates from Malaysian companies, plus the big international and political stories impacting you. Let's kick off with Malaysian companies. First up, AirAsia. Sound like they're close to a deal for more long-range Airbus jets.
That's the report, yeah. Could be announced during the PM's trip to France.
And the impact. Pretty big for their growth plans, I imagine.
Absolutely. This could really expand their fleet, support those ambitions.
Okay. And sticking with local tech, SkyeChip.
Right, the Malaysian semiconductor designer.
Mm-hmm.
They seem close to an IPO after some strong growth years.
Highlighting Malaysia's role in AI chips, then.
Exactly. A growing presence in that specialized design space.
Interesting. Moving to infrastructure, Econpile Holdings, they've secured new contracts.
Yeah, 2 of them. Worth nearly 58 million ringgit. Construction services, material supply.
So a nice boost to their revenue from next financial year.
Should be, yes.
Hmm.
And also in energy, Dialog Group signed an MOU with Petronas.
That's for the Mutiara Cluster offshore Sabah.
Correct. The idea is to fast-track gas production there.
Why the rush?
Well, it's really to try and hit that first gas date sooner, address Sabah's rising power needs.
Got it. And more energy news. Perdana Petroleum.
They secured a 3-year vessel charter contract from PTTEP Sabah Oil. Offshore support.
So steady income for them for a few years.
Expected to contribute positively, yes. Also, GFM Services is buying a stake in Shapadu Energy.
But spending their O&G facilities management.
Exactly. A 60% stake for 30 million ringgit cash. It strengthens their hand in high-value energy maintenance.
Okay, let's switch to financials. AEON Credit Service, their earnings outlook got cut.
It did. CIMB Securities cited higher losses from AEON Bank and the expanded SST.
So what does this mean for AEON Bank's prospects?
Well, it suggests a longer road to profitability, and that's impacting AEON Credit's earnings near term.
Right, and CTS Digital, flat earnings expected for Q2.
That's the expectation, yes. But analysts still seem pretty bullish on the stock long term.
Seeing a value opportunity, maybe?
Seems like it. They see potential for capital gain down the line.
Okay. PBA Holdings proposed a big Sukuk program, 5 billion ringgit.
That's right, a sukuk wakala. It's significant Sharia-compliant funding for their capex and growth.
And in the insurance sector, more M&A expected.
Looks that way. Consolidation seems likely, especially with interest in the Takaful market growing.
Which could mean a positive re-rating for insurers.
Potentially, yes. Elsewhere, Felda extended its takeover offer for FGV Holdings again.
To August 15th. Is this the final attempt?
It's being called their final push to privatize FGV, yes.
And we saw a leadership change at Time.com.
We did. Lo Jankum is the new group CEO. Afzal Abdul Rahim is now executive vice chairman, signals a strategic shift.
Theta Edge is planning a private placement too.
Nearly 20 million ringgit. It's to fund operations and future investments without taking on debt interest.
But it will dilute existing shares.
That's the trade-off, yes.
Okay, couple more Malaysian items. Kellington Group partnering with Petronas.
Yeah, on a feasibility study for carbon emissions management. Looking for synergies, new low-carbon business opportunities.
Now, a big one, Tenaga Nasional, their share price dropped.
It did. They lost a federal court tax dispute and now face a potentially massive one-off tax provision.
How much are we talking?
Could be up to 6.8 billion ringgit. A huge hit to earnings and net assets.
Ouch. And could set a precedent for other cases.
That's the concern, yes. On a brighter note, despite higher electricity costs, the data center boom looks set to continue.
Tenaga thinks so anyway. Good news for construction.
Definitely. Expected to generate significant contracts.
All right, let's shift gears. International and political news, starting with the Bank of England.
Governor Andrew Bailey warned about stablecoins, said they risk undermining public trust in money.
Central banks watching closely then.
Very closely. Monitoring for any fragilities in the system.
And the Bank of Japan. Still sounding hawkish.
Seems so. Board member Takada said the rate hike cycle will resume after just a temporary pause, even with U.S. tariff threats.
So more hikes possible this year.
That's the signal. Yeah.
And closer to home, what about Bank Negara Malaysia? Expectations for an OPR cut.
Growing expectations, yes. Maybe 25 basis points next week.
Right now.
Likely a preemptive move. To support growth, given some concerns over private consumption.
Okay, let's look at trade tensions. Germany pushing the EU to settle the U.S. tariff dispute.
That's right. Chancellor Merz wants it sorted quickly before the July 9 deadline, protecting key European industries.
And the U.S.-Vietnam deal is causing ripples.
It is. Tariffs on Vietnamese imports, higher rates for transshipped goods. It's definitely stoking concern across Asia, reshaping supply chains.
China's not happy.
No. They've vowed retaliation if their interests are hurt. So, signs of escalating tensions there.
What about oil prices?
They're retreating a bit. Uncertainty over U.S. tariffs, plus the expectation OPEC Plus might raise output this weekend. Downward pressure.
Okay, let's look at the U.S. stock markets hitting new highs.
The S&P 500 and NASDAQ, yes. After stronger than expected jobs data came out.
So the strong labor market is pushing back Fed rate cut expectations.
Seems to be the case. Plus, some easing trade tensions helping sentiment, like the U.S. lifting restrictions on chip design software exports to China.
Synopsys and Cadence can resume exporting.
That's right. Bit of a thaw there.
And the U.S. jobs report itself.
Pretty solid for June. Unemployment actually fell unexpectedly to 4.1%.
Reinforcing that idea the Fed can wait on cuts.
Exactly. Though the picture was a bit muddled by the U.S. trade deficit widening sharply in May as exports fell.
How does that fit in?
Well, it's mixed, but some think it could actually contribute to an expected rebound in economic growth in Q2.
Okay, one last point. Back to Malaysia. The expanded sales and service tax, the SST. The finance minister commented.
Yes, Datuk Seri Amir Hamzah Azizan. He stated it's targeted, aiming to control cascading effects, avoid burdening the public unduly.
So the goal is managing inflation, using the extra revenue for aid.
That's the stated objective, balancing the books while trying to support people.
Right. Well, that certainly covers a lot of ground. A complex picture globally and locally, with clear impacts for you, our listeners. And that wraps up our deep dive for today. For more insights and updates, please do subscribe to the Malaysian Money Matters podcast.
Hey there, thanks for tuning in. If you would like a deeper dive into all the investment opportunities from today's news, subscribe to my newsletter at moneymatters.substack.com. I will be sharing a deeper analysis of the key investment opportunities from today's news, including what makes these opportunities stand out and how they fit into the broader market trends. By subscribing to the Malaysia Money Matters newsletter, you will also get exclusive insights on my watch list and portfolio and fundamental reports on Malaysian listed companies.